Well, hello again, Buccaneer fans. Time for another edition of the Buccaneer Update. I'm Rob Walden, and it's time for our weekly sit-down with the head coach of the CSU football team, Coach Jay Mills. And, Coach, a tough one on Saturday against South Florida, 59-0 loss. I know you and the team and all the assistants have really kind of got to be glad to be done with opponents from the football bowl subdivision ranks for 2009.
Well, until we go FBS and get the additional 22 scholarships, I think that'd probably be the case. But we knew there was a purpose and a plan for all of this, and we thought this well out ahead of time. And talk about it from a university-wide approach. As we talked about before, the key things are this gave not only our football team but our university a national front that is rarely seen and rarely available. And unfortunately, sometimes it only comes about through athletics, and we want to draw attention in a positive manner to this university, all that the university has, the vision statement that it has as far as integrating faith and being nationally recognized and doing that in leading, learning, and serving. And of course, these last few weeks have been giving us an opportunity to do that. Many things, we hope it's advantageous for us in the recruiting. A good deal of our young men and our recruiting comes from Florida. 2 of those first 3 games were from the state of Florida. A chance to play in a Division I FBS environment, not only the Swamp, but also you have Raymond James Stadium, which hosted the Super Bowl last year. Those things have given us just great opportunities that are rare. The other thing is we hope that it leathers us now that we approach the regular season. The analogy I gave the team afterwards was it's like the basketball teams in Division I that load up heavy preseason to get ready for conference play. And I told them in Raymond James Stadium after the game last Saturday night that Davidson 2 years ago, I believe they were 1-7 when they got done playing the likes of UCLA's and some of those. And when the season unfolded and when it completed, they were in the Elite 8 for March Madness. So we hope it takes the same type of approach to us, elevates our game so that now when we're in a balanced, level playing field, so to speak, we stand up and show out.
Defensively, another tough game, obviously, against a very talented opponent. You guys have struggled, at least to this point. You haven't recorded a sack yet. You've kind of struggled against the run. How much of that has to do with, facing the caliber opponents that you have, and then also working in a lot of new guys? You have 9 new defensive starters. It seems like you're shifting that lineup almost on a snap-by-snap basis. So how much of those struggles have come because of the opposition, and how much of it has come because of the inexperience on that unit?
Well, I think there's a combination of factors, and one of those 3 opponents was basically a running football team, a broken wishbone team, and so I think they only maybe threw the ball 10 times. And by the same token, those 2 FBS games, neither of those opponents sacked our team along the way. So I think some of that has to do with being early in the season as well, too. Guys just kind of getting their groove and getting the rust off. And the third thing is, like you said, inexperience. We got some new people, and we got some new schemes that we've been utilizing. And so there tends to be an area where you try to get in comfort zone and where you'll be better able to explode and unleash as you feel more comfortable with the scheme. And then finally, as you mentioned, we're playing against some young men that are going to be challenging. USF should challenge for the Big East title. Of course, we know where Florida's going to rank at the end of the season or close to it. And many of those young men are going to be playing on Sundays, too. So, again, hopefully what it does is it's heightened our skills, even though the sacks haven't showed up, that they'll show up when we get on that level playing field.
On the offensive side of things, A.J. Toscano, quarterback, finished with 127 passing yards against South Florida. He's been right in that 120 to 150 mark in those 3 games. Those aren't great stats, but at the same time, I know you've got to be pleased with the way that he stood in against pressure that he's probably not going to face the rest of the year. Done a nice job, completed more than 50% of his throws.
Well, we hope we don't see pressure like some of those individuals, too. If we do, then they've been recruiting awfully well. But A.J., I've been impressed. Overall, he's shown a lot of poise. He's had some inexperienced moments at times, but there's no doubt in our mind, and I say our, I mean our coaching staff as well, too, that A.J. is going to develop to be one of the finest quarterbacks we've had in school history, and both from a tangible standpoint with his physical tools that he has, but intangibly the calm, cool presence and demeanor that he has. And we want to have balance, and I believe that his ability to throw the football is going to help out our run game as well.
We mentioned that you guys haven't recorded a sack yet, but in both the Florida and the USF games, you guys didn't allow a sack, and I know that's got to be a source of pride for you. offensive line coach Chuck Kelly, really the entire unit. Some good players on the Florida side. You got Carlos Dunlap. On the USF side, you've got George Selvey. Both of those guys decorated All-Americans. To not allow a sack against those two units, I know has to make you very proud.
Well, there's no question about it, and you're right. It goes to the fact that it's a number of individuals that contributed to that. The offensive line and Coach Kelly does a great job. Our running back coach, Coach Gardenia, and the backs and tight ends, and then you got our wide receivers that are doing things correctly, that are allowing the quarterback to get the ball off quickly, and Coach Bruner working with them. So I believe it really gives us something to build upon as well, too. Now that we feel good about that, if we can hone up, I think our number one focus has got to be attention to detail and playing all out with complete confidence from snap to whistle, from start to finish, and I think we have the makings of a very fine team.
In the ground game, seems like you guys have kind of settled on a two-back approach. Antoine Ivy, DeMarcus Moon, those two have kind of split carries. Neither one has really done anything spectacular in the first three games, but it does seem like you've really settled on those two, and I know you got to feel good about them going forward.
Well, I think the thing is, again, you look at the opposition, a top 20 ranked team, in fact, a top 10 ranked team until they played the first game against South Florida, and then two major colleges. And when you look at that and say we're 3.1 yards per attempt, 3.5 yards per attempt, and that's about where we were last year for an entire season, then I think that you look at that and you go, okay, what's that going to translate when we get into, again, I keep saying the level playing field. I think it's going to play its way out very well. Those two guys have been very solid. I think the other guy coming up and starting to make a move is B.J. Hackworth as well, too. So I feel like we got our best core running back since I've been here, our best offensive line, and with those types of makings, I expect us to run the ball very effectively this year.
This week's opponent is North Greenville, and they've had their fair share of struggles as well. 0-4, they haven't scored more than 16 points in a game, but I know something that you and the rest of the coaches have stressed in practice this week is to not overlook the Crusaders. They're a hungry team just like you guys are, looking for that first victory, and you guys are going to have to come out focused on Saturday if you're going to come away with your first win.
I think the key thing for us has been, and of course we have kind of a personal interest in their program to begin with Coach Jamie Chadwell being the head football coach there. That draws our guys' attention as well, too, because it'll be a friendly rivalry. We're South Carolina Baptist Convention Associate Schools, which makes us brother schools or sister schools, if you will. But I think that the key thing for us has been we haven't really approached it by talking about the opposition, and that's how we generally focus our approach. We talk about our performance, our level of expertise and excellence, and rising to that level, regardless of the opponent being the Florida Gators, North Greenville University, or anybody else on the schedule. We've got to take care of the things we can do, and we've got to get better at all those phases.
Well, Coach, always a pleasure to sit down with you, and best of luck. I know the CSU fans are happy to see you guys back at home. Best of luck against North Greenville on Saturday.
We're great to be, feel great to be back at home as well, too, and we're excited about the fans coming out, both the local CSU community, which we represent, and the entire Low Country as well, too.
All right, so the 2009 home opener, that's this Saturday, 1:30 p.m., Charleston Southern and North Greenville right here at CSU Stadium. Until next time, for Coach Jay Mills, I'm Rob Walden. We'll see you next time on CSUSports.com.